Well, hello there. Welcome back to Anthrovox. I'm Joe. And today I was thinking about something that, everybody experiences in their life and how we deal with this is sort of depends on the rules that we have created as a society, as a culture. But it's the subject of grief and how do we grieve, and who do we grieve for, and what are the things that we grieve in our lives. Some people grieve over losing someone in their life, or they grieve a pet that has been lost, or a position they once had, or a situation that they were once in and are no longer there. What could have beens. And we oftentimes create rules around how we should behave in these certain circumstances. 2 years ago, I lost my bear, and even now it brings a lot of emotion to me when I think about what it's been like not having him around. And it's interesting because I think about the fact that in the last 2 years, I feel like maybe I shouldn't be grieving as much. I lost him. But I should move on, right? Life is about moving forward. Bear was 13, Malamute Australian Shepherd that I had the wonderful opportunity of picking up as a puppy when I was working on the Ute Mountain Reservation 15 years ago. And it's easy for me to say that he was the best dog ever. Now, a lot of people say that about their own pets, that they are the best. And I would not begrudge anyone for saying that about their wonderful fur babies, their pet friends. But I can honestly say that of all the dogs that I have met, his was the most amazing. Some people don't consider their dogs or their pets to be, well, they consider them to be pets, right? And auxiliary to their family. But for Bear and I, for many years, that's what he was. He was my family. And for many years, especially during the pandemic, he was oftentimes the only one that I ended up spending a lot of time around. And so, sort of thinking about where we are as people and how do we deal with the emotions, the loss. And every day I talk to Bear, and I find it sometimes kind of funny that I still do that. That he had such a huge impact on me. So, there's people out there that, and it's funny because when I talk to them about, dogs and children, and you see a lot of people talking about their fur babies, and that they are supplementing their lack of having children with having dogs or pets in general. And that was certainly my case. Um, Not having kids is a choice that a lot of us are making, and we are supplementing that space in our hearts for dogs and other pets, and they become a big part of our lives. And it's funny because I actually make this comment to a lot of people. You should treat your dogs like kids and your kids like dogs. And I don't usually wonder why no one ever asked me to babysit, because that's usually not a good indicator that I'm going to treat their children like dogs. But I think, honestly, that it's not a bad thing to do. Because if you love and treat your pets with respect, and I don't even Bear was never my pet. Bear was my bear. But if you treat them with respect and you train them like you would train your own children, which that's what we do, is we train our kids to behave particular ways, to do particular things, and do tricks. We train our children to do the same thing. But if you show mutual respect, and that's what I found with Bear, is that I treated him with respect, and I treated him as I would a kid, and that's what he became. And I think that those kinds of relationships can be just as important in our lives as we would the people in our lives. I think about my dad. When my dad died 15 years ago, I didn't have as much emotion at his passing as I did with Bear's, which kind of blows my mind sometimes, that it was such a, this was my father. This is someone that I had spent decades with, who had a huge impact on my life in so many different ways. Even my grandparents, who, especially my grandpa Bill, who was my mentor in many ways, who got me into the field that I am in now, who, did all these amazing things. I did not grieve for him as much as I grieved for Bear. And I think there were different roles, right? My dad, my grandparents had long lives, who went out, and when they passed, that was it. But Bear's passing wasn't the same. It was like mourning a child. He died from internal bleeding. He had gotten beat up by another dog. Bear was 13, and he wasn't as feisty as he used to be, and another dog came up and caused some internal damage. The cancer was bad, but he would have continued to have lived for a little while. And when we were at that moment, we were at the vets, the wonderful vets at the CSU training school, and I saw his face and his willingness to live. Oh, to make that decision. And so I grieve. As we all do about those kinds of things. And it's hard to share. And I guess that's kind of why I'm doing this. I'm trying to do something outside of my comfort zone. And it's amazing when I think about everything that's happened since, the grief, how it's impacted my other relationships and how I see the world. And it's no surprise that a lot of people, as they experience this and how it has such a big impact on their lives, that they have difficulties in moving forward. And so we just have to figure that out. And lots of people have strategies for dealing with the grief, the pain, the loss, the sense of loss, steps to follow. Sometimes they help, and sometimes they don't. And sometimes it just grows into something more, and then sometimes after a while it just fizzles out. We all take our own journey when it comes to grief. And so that's where I'm at. On this journey, dealing with it, now sharing it, hoping that some of you out there might appreciate it, and maybe you can share your own. It's not easy, especially in our culture. You know, I see a lot of stuff online about men not being able to share their pain. So I am. For a dog. The best of dogs. And I've been fortunate that I've got good friends that have been able to share their dogs with me. Pippin, who was, or is, Bear's best friend. They would have had beautiful puppies together. Taco, who is just one of the most wonderful of dogs. Badger, who is an amazing dog, but oh my God, little monster. Love him to death. His name fits. And Blue, the eternal puppy. People have been asking me, like, when are you going to get another dog? I don't know. One day, when the situation is right and the dog is the right dog, who's to say what the right dog is? Who's to say what's best? When the time is right, it'll just happen. All platitudes. I don't know. I don't know if I can. I think about all the old dogs that are out there needing a home. Maybe someday soon. Give all your dogs, your cats, your fur babies, give them a big hug. Give them an extra treat. Give your children and your loved ones an extra hug. Let them know that you care. One day, they might be gone. And you'll wish for just one more day. One more belly rub. Take care, everyone.